A $6.4 billion bridge sits ready to open, but for a moment, it looked like nobody would be allowed to use it. Washington suddenly demanded extra money and at least half the ownership before a single truck could cross. It felt like the opening scene of a full-blown trade war. Then, in less than 72 hours, the whole thing quietly disappeared. No retaliation, no dramatic press conferences. Prime Minister Mark Carney simply picked up the phone, walked Washington through the real legal documents from 2012, and the demands vanished. Here's where things get interesting. This short drama reveals more about how U.S.-Canada trade actually works than most headlines ever do. Beneath the political noise, decisions are driven by cold numbers, signed contracts, and raw efficiency. But that's not all. The Gordie Howe International Bridge spans the Detroit River and connects straight into the highway systems on both sides. Built specifically for heavy freight, it was designed to move goods faster and ease congestion. The contract behind it is straightforward. Back in 2012, Canada and Michigan signed a clear agreement. Canada paid the entire upfront bill, the bridge, the connecting highways, and the new customs plazas. Michigan contributed $0 at the start. In exchange, Michigan received joint ownership of the bridge and the right to collect half the toll revenue once Canada recovers its investment. American steel from Pennsylvania and Indiana was used in construction. Thousands of American workers helped build it. When Washington suddenly demanded more money and ownership changes, they were trying to rewrite a deal their own state had already signed on to. Here's where things get interesting. Carney's response was calm and clinical. On a quiet phone call, he simply laid out the facts. Shared ownership already exists. American jobs were created, and delaying the bridge would only hurt U.S. auto plants in Detroit and Toledo. He treated it like reviewing a balance sheet. The agreement is the agreement. But that's not all. While Washington was focused on blocking the new bridge, something important was already happening on the ground. The old Ambassador Bridge in Detroit, once the undisputed king of North American truck crossings, had quietly lost its crown. By the end of 2024, a smaller crossing further north, the Blue Water Bridge in Sarnia, took over as the busiest truck route between Canada and the U.S. The numbers tell the story clearly. In 2025, the Blue Water Bridge handled over 2.1 million commercial trucks. The Ambassador Bridge dropped to about 1.9 million. And early 2026 numbers show the gap growing even wider. Here's where things get interesting. It all comes down to basic math and toll prices. Crossing the Ambassador Bridge costs around $135 for a standard semi-truck. Up north at the Blue Water Bridge, the same trip costs just $35. That's a $100 savings per truck, per crossing. For logistics companies running hundreds of trucks every week, that difference is not optional. It's survival. But that's not all. The brand new Gordie Howe Bridge was built to solve exactly this problem. The Gordie Howe International Bridge was specifically designed to solve this exact problem. It completely bypasses city streets, traffic lights, connecting straight from Ontario's Highway 401 to Michigan's Interstate 75. Trucks will move faster and more efficiently, even better. The planned commercial toll rate is roughly $12 per axle. That's a massive discount compared to the Ambassador Bridge. Here's where things get interesting. The Ambassador Bridge isn't public infrastructure. It's privately owned by the Moran family. For years, they strongly fought against the new Gordie Howe Bridge because it directly threatens their high toll revenue. Reports show that shortly before Washington tried to block the new bridge, the Moran family had been actively lobbying the administration and making donations to aligned political groups. But that's not all. The new bridge is actually one of the most important pieces of infrastructure for keeping American auto manufacturing competitive. It lowers freight costs and speeds up supply chains for plants in Detroit and surrounding areas. Michigan leaders immediately push back against any delays because they know holding up this bridge would hurt their own factories and workers. The biggest lesson from this whole episode is crystal clear. Over the past few months, we've seen loud threats, tariff talk, and public posturing, yet every time, Canada's response has been calm, methodical, and rooted in facts. Volume doesn't win these battles. Documentation does. The contracts hold the real power. A $6.4 billion bridge is far more than steel and concrete. It represents deep economic integration between the two countries. You can't simply shout it away or rewrite it on a whim. Here's where things get interesting. While the political noise gets louder, the actual map of trade keeps shifting quietly. Trucking companies and manufacturers don't care about headlines. They follow the path of least resistance. The cheaper toll, the faster route, the better efficiency. The trucks keep rolling, the contracts hold up, and the people focused on the details quietly get the job done. Trade drama between the US and Canada is only getting started. If you want clear breakdowns every time something like this happens, hit subscribe and turn on the bell. Predict in the comments. Will the Gordie Howe Bridge open on time?